listen, our attitude in the game is exactly the same as what it's been, is to go and look to win the game. We do that by playing our way. I think we showed at the weekend, once we change from that or divert from that, we don't have the same qualities, and it's not our strength. So our strength is to go and play the game we want to play. We know we're playing against a good side, but it's our last game at home, and we want to do everything we can to give the supporters a performance and a result.
It's not a topic I like to get bogged down in, but in the bigger picture of things, Scotland's coefficient situation, I don't know how much you pay attention to this, but the points accumulated by Scotland as a nation dictate how many teams go into Europe, where they go in. For next season, Scotland are in quite a good position, but beyond that, Scotland, as it stands, will drop significantly down the rankings, which means, for example, the champions have to go through a lot of qualifiers. The only way that can be improved is by picking up points in games like this. Does that come into your longer-term thinking in terms of the accumulation of points, in terms of what it may mean down the road by getting results?
No, I think it's just purely it's based on how you're doing for me now and in the present. Of course, I think if we're successful at the level, then of course that hopefully then that tags on the rest of the coefficient stuff. But ultimately, we're here to perform for Celtic and do the very best that we can, and we can do that and gain points and wins. Then of course that will always improve the standing.
Brendan, you talk about wanting to have the right approach. You obviously want to get a positive result tomorrow night, but does this also give you an opportunity to test players at a good level, to see what they can do, that maybe fringe players who you haven't been able to see at this level before?
Yeah, I think it's also because of the situation we have with injuries and whatnot, and of course with all the games that we have played before and after this game. It will give the opportunity for players to play, and I think that's, by the time I reach January, I think a lot of the players in the squad that will have had the opportunity to play games and play games through all the levels, and then can be assessed from there. But whatever team we pit out, we're putting the team out always to win. At Celtic, there's no gifts, there's no free games. Every game is to win, and even though disappointingly we won't have anything in Europe after Christmas, we still playing for pride here and the support. So we'll have a team tomorrow looking to fight for the result.
How has the response been from Sunday in training, and what kind of response are you expecting to see out there tomorrow night?
It's mostly been recovery, to be fair, from we play Sunday and we get back in. Obviously we analyse the game. I think the beauty and the great value of the game at the weekend is that we know where the issues were, that a bit like the St Johnstone game, the intensity wasn't right, and we fixed that. Sadly for us, when we analysed the game, we didn't play with the poise that we would need to play with in the second half in our league game. So, but at least we see that, and then we can take that learning hopefully into the game tomorrow.
Brendan, you talked there about taking learning into the game tomorrow, but can a victory tomorrow mean you can take learning into next season, and will it give you players belief that they do belong at that level if you do return to the Champions League next season?
Well, it's still such a long way to go, and I think that probably come this time next year, then the squad may look a lot different again. So, but I think what you can only focus on is the present, and for us, it's about going and performing and playing to the level that we know we can consistently. We've done that in spells over the course of this competition, where we've played some really high level football and showed in those moments that we belong at the level. But you have to consistently do that, and if we can never do that consistently with that quality, then that will always give you a chance of breaking through.
If you do pick up 3 points tomorrow, have something to show for your efforts in this group stage, could it also spur you on domestically? Obviously, you are 5 points clear at the top of the league, but could it give you an extra boost as this domestic schedule, festive schedule, really ramps up?
Yeah, there's nothing. Every win always improves confidence, and but either way, whatever the result will be, we'll go into our game against Hearts really focused on performing and getting a result. So, but yeah, we will make that breakthrough I'm pretty sure at some point, and in the near future. But it would be a great place to start tomorrow, of course. And but whatever the result, we go into our weekend's game really focused on getting back up to speed in the league.
Just finally from me, what do you expect from Feyenoord tomorrow night, given the fact that they know they're going to be in third place? Do you think they're going to come here with a full strength side? Will it be similar to the one you faced on match day one? What do you think?
I think so. I think probably maybe barring injuries, then Jimenez might play and be around. He didn't play in the first game, and he's obviously a very talented striker and done really well for them. But we expect them, they're a strong side. You know, we've seen their quality. We played really well in the first half, stood up in the second half, but you can see the quality they have, the physicality in the team, and they got a really high level of technique and good understanding. And Arnie's an excellent coach who's done very well with Feyenoord. So any game in the Champions League is a big challenge, but we relish that. It's our last game here in the competition, and we want to give the supporters something to go home happy about.
Brian, can I just ask about Rio Hatate? Have you had the chance to assess him? Is there any chance of seeing him before the winter break, or are you looking at after January, later in January?
Yeah, he's at this moment in time we're thinking it'll be into January. So, but he's doing very well. But we just assess that as each day goes by.
Look at top teams across the Champions League level, and even when you're first year, we had Scott Brown, who's a physical presence in midfield and do the dirty work and allow players to push on forward and attack. Is that a player you'd like to bring in the January window or moving forward to the summer window?
What a
physical kind of holding midfielder, similar to like what Scott Brown did during your first time here.
I think it's always about balance in midfield. You know, I think for me the importance of winning the ball is a collective. It's not just one player. Scott was obviously outstanding in my time here the first time, but we played with a physical player in the weekend and we lost. So it's all about the balance in your team. I said when I first come in, hopefully the identity that this team will have power and strength and creativity and speed over the course of my time here, and we're working towards that. So, but technical ability is very important, but being competitive is equally important, and but that's in all aspects of the pitch.
The last Champions League game was when you were here as manager. How great an achievement would it be for you to, again, personally for you, to guide Celtic to another Champions League win, and hopefully it's tomorrow night?
Listen, it would be great, but more so for the supporters that have been waiting a long time. You know, the Anderlecht game was a fantastic win for us, and we played really well in the game. The team has gone close on occasions, and but it would be nice to make that result, and it's more for everyone than a personal achievement. You know, this is a really challenging competition for a team like ourselves, but we always dream and we always have that ambition to do well, and whilst we're competing with the shirt, we'll always fight for the result.
Are there any specific things that from the rest of the group stage games you'll be looking to improve on for tomorrow night? Callum said that you need to be switched on for 90 minutes. The players need to be switched on for 90 minutes. But is there anything else that you have worked on in training or anything in hopes that it will mean you'll get a better result tomorrow night?
Well, I think in terms of these games, I've always said they're games about belief. So from and Callum's absolutely right, from a mental perspective, your concentration is so important. The technical level of players here, they can get through the pitch very quickly, and then all of a sudden they're in on your back line. And lots of teams at this level, they have the front end of the pitch is filled with quality. So that concentration is important. But when you have the ball, it's having that belief and that poise to look after the ball, to attack with speed, but also be able to play at tempo. And that's something that we always aim to do here within the team. So yeah, but most importantly, as soon as the whistle goes, you go and attack the game, and that's when we're at our best. And well, we've shown that here on a number of games. When we do that, we look a really good side, and then you know that within the game you're going to have to defend, and you're going to have to be strong, and you need a little bit of luck along the way. And if you can do that, then hopefully you can have a great night.
So the performances in the Champions League this season have been good, but you don't maybe have the points to show for it in the group. But what are the positives that you can take from this campaign going into the next one?
Well, I look through each game, and there's spells in it where I've been really happy with. Like the start in Feyenoord was really good up until half time, and then we lose per goal. The Lazio game here, we should have taken something from that game and didn't, and that concentration, that lapse cost us. Atletico Madrid was, I thought, a really good performance here at home, and a really exciting game against a really, really good side. So we've shown that not just competing, but our football, it's then about sustaining that, because then you can't drop off in your next games. Atletico away was a tough evening for us. You lose a player at that level, and it can really punish you, and they did do that. But yeah, I've seen a lot in a lot of the games to know that we keep improving our experience and look to improve the squad. Then we hopefully can make another step forward.
Hi, Brendan. Just to touch on recruitment, in the summer transfer window we signed 9 new players, and at the weekend there only 2 of them started. I think Palma and Nat Phillips, whose loan deal finishes soon. In the previous fixture against Hibs, only Palma started. Looking back, would you say you were satisfied with the summer activity, and are you confident going forward in January that you'll be able to get the 4 quality first team ready players that you've mentioned in terms of experience and quality in general?
Listen, I don't need to look back. The players were signed. They're in here. They're players that may not be for now. They might be players that down the line become really good players for Celtic. You know, when you come into a club like Celtic at 20 years of age, it can be a real challenge, and the adaptation. And if you're coming from another country, it can be tough. But so those guys have signed long contracts, some of them, and hopefully in that time they can show that they can be Celtic players. Looking forward, of course, we want to improve the squad. I think we'll do that, one, with players that are coming back that can prove influential for us, and hopefully, if there's the right players available, we can look to improve key areas that we would like to.
And just a similar question I asked to Callum was just, obviously in the European campaign, we have competed well in the majority of the games. Do you have a message for Celtic fans that you feel that you can be the one that can take us forward and, you know, progress in terms of knockout football, and just give us something to dream about in terms of going into these Champions League games again?
I absolutely can, because it's the very reason I came back. I came back here to lead the club domestically, to hopefully continued success, and also into Europe, where we all want to break this barrier and bridge this gap, which is a really, really tough challenge, but it's what I've always done in my career. Pick the challenge to come here and hopefully take us forward, and that's going to be us all. That's going to be the supporters, the board, the players, the club, myself, all being together, getting the right players in that can improve and develop our squad, and I have every confidence that we can do that over the coming seasons.
Callum, how do you view the game tomorrow night, given that you can't change your position in the group, and given perhaps you've got other things to deal with domestically? How much of a priority is this match for you?
And I think every game at Celtic's a big game. Like you said, there's, in terms of the standings in the group, of course we can't jump above anyone, so that's sort of disappointing in itself, the fact that we've got to the last game and we don't have anything to play for as such. But every game is massive when you represent Celtic, and especially coming off the back of Sunday's result, everyone's looking for a reaction, a performance, and we owe it to ourselves. I think in terms of the group, we've performed reasonably well without getting the points that we want. So we want to try and make a statement and what we think we can bring to the Champions League. So it's a big important game, and like I said, every game for Celtic's important.
given this season and last season, recent seasons, in fact, you tried to play in Europe how you play domestically. You've been brave on the ball. You've tried to be expansive. How important is it to get rewards for trying to do that and win games to keep you all believing it's the right path to go on?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a certain way to play, and we believe that we are trying to do the right thing and play the right way, especially for the way that we played domestically as well. So, but like you said, we have to get results, and we believe that the performances will get us there. I think that's why we're going in that direction. I think if we believed that if we went a different direction, then we would get points and then we would go that way. But listen, it's the top level, and you're up against good teams, so you have to have that belief that you're a good team, and if you want to be a top team, there's a certain way to play. So, but you're absolutely spot on. You have to marry that with performances and results to give you that feeling that you're progressing as a club.
You know what it's like every time a Champions League game comes around just now. The recent record gets thrown up, how long it's been since a win, how long since it's been here. Is that one of the things tomorrow could help you with? You win, it takes that off the table for next season, so it doesn't get brought up when you're back in this competition.
Yeah, listen, I think people they like to have too much time in their hands, and they come up with these statistics, and I've said it out there as well, that you can't really label that at this year's group or last year's group. It's a longer term thing, and even before that, the club have not been in Champions League for 4 years, so of course then it starts to add up all the years. So, but we understand we want to be competitive, and if we get to this level, then we have to make an impact. So everybody at the club knows that. They know the position on it. Of course, like you said, if we win tomorrow night, everybody stops talking about it. It gives you that belief, and then hopefully you're back here again next season, and you can kick on for there. But I think what we have to do is just keep everything internal. We know the messages that we're trying to set. We know the standards we're trying to set. And like I said, for the performances, we believe we should have more points, but now it's about us trying to go and prove that on the pitch.
Callum, how much would a win though give you in terms of the massiveness of the boost it could give you to take on in other competitions, and also maybe just to get Sunday out your system as well?
Yeah, well that's it. Everybody's looking for a reaction after the weekend. We've spoken internally about that result as well, and where we believe we should have been better in the game. So it's a brilliant game to try and put that to bed. Top European competition, good opposition, and a game at Celtic Park. So what else do you want to go and motivate yourself to put Sunday to bed? And then, like you say, we've got 4 or 5 massive games before the break, so that can help bring that confidence back into the group again after the weekend.
I wouldn't expect you to tell me what you said in those meetings about after Sunday's game, but is there a feeling that obviously the style of play under Ange Postecoglou took a little bit of time to get used to, now a different style of play under Brendan Rodgers? Are the players just coming to terms with a different style of play?
It's not too different, to be honest, because we want to play, we want to be a football team, and of course, there's slightly different things that the manager's asking us to do now versus what the manager was doing last year. You've got a turnover of players that, you're probably missing 4 of your sort of key players as well this season. So, the squad's stretched as well, and you had a lot of games to that. So you can start to see maybe where the problems will come. But listen, we have to stay strong, and we know that every game is, everybody wants to beat you. When you're the champion, everybody wants to beat you. They give everything they possibly can, and it's about us dealing with that. Whatever the solution, whatever the problem is, we have to find the solution, and we didn't do that well enough at the weekend. So, we're on the right track. It's the first game we've lost this season, and it's a timely reminder of if we come away from what makes us good and the way that we train and the way that we want to play, then the games can become difficult. So. It's just a reminder that we play with our identity, and we go and try and enforce that on as many teams as possible.
Callum, just in terms of Champions League games this season, we all know that the team have played really well in spells, not got that victory. What needs to change specifically to turn those performances into wins? What needs to change on the pitch?
Simply, we need to score goals, and we need to keep the ball at the back of the net. I think everything else in between is pretty good. But you see in all levels of football that what happens in both boxes is the thing that determines the game, and you can have all the great play that you want, but like I said, you need to be strong in both boxes, and that's probably the bit that we're maybe missing. You know, when we create opportunities, we maybe take one when maybe we could get 2 or 3, and then the same thing happens. We switch off and we concede in important moments in the game. So it's a game of concentration, especially when you get to this level. You have to stay switched on for 95, 96, 97 minutes and almost complete the perfect performance to get your victories.
In terms of tomorrow night, when Celtic fans bought tickets to the game, they might thought, this is going to be the big one, that if we win this, we'll go through, even go into the Europa League. Obviously, there is nothing to play for, but as club captain, what's your message to the fans coming here tomorrow night? What should they expect? What should they bring?
Well, for us, we have to bring a level of performance that gets them off their seat, gets them involved in the game. It's a busy period for everyone. We understand that, especially over the festive period. Coming here after work, all these factors. So when they come through the stadium and they come through the turnstiles, it's about us. We have to perform to get them involved in the game. And like you said, everybody was probably expecting a sort of shootout type match tomorrow. I still think it'll be a good football match, and we have to bring our aggressive game, our running game, good with the ball. And like I said, it's about what we do in the game, and hopefully that'll get them excited and looking forward to the next 4 or 5 games.
Callum, have you enjoyed the last couple of games playing slightly further up the park? Has that been a kind of refreshing change for you?
Yeah, it's been a sort of slight change of position. Allows you to join in a little bit more and get involved in the attacking stuff. So, yeah, I've spoken about this before. It doesn't really bother me where I play, as long as I'm in the team. And when I'm in the team, then I do everything I can. If I'm asked to play a little bit deeper, then that's what the role requires. And if you're asked to push on a little bit more, then you have to go and join in with the attacking guys and try and influence the game in that way. So, yeah, I've played probably in a mixture of the 2 positions now for the last 10 years, and yeah, whatever the game requires and whatever the manager wants me to do, then I'll do that.
Obviously, we saw some pictures of Dyson Maeda back at training today, and Rio Hatate's about the place as well. Does it feel like that's going to be a big lift for the team? Lila Bada might be quite close as well over the festive period as well, especially.
Yeah. I touched on it there. We're probably missing 3 or 4 big players for us in terms of the way that we play, the energy that they bring to the team, the quality that they bring to the team as well. So great to see those guys back in close. And as soon as we can get them back into the group and the team, then that'll give everybody a boost as well.
As one of the most experienced players in this team, what's your message to the players been leading up to this game, where it might not be as motivated as a normal Champions League game?
No, I think everybody, I can see it in the dressing room. Everybody's hurting from Sunday, and when you get the chance to play in a Champions League game for Celtic, then you don't need any more motivation than that. We feel as if we've got a bit to prove as well, and in terms of the way that the group's played out, I think it's been fairly even. A lot of the performances have been strong. We've had bad moments in games which have cost us. So when I look at the players, then I see that they're ready to come here tomorrow night and put on a big performance and hopefully try and get that win that we want.
Obviously, the red cards over in the Netherlands last time changed the outcome of the game. Do you feel this is one of the games where, coming into the group, you are most confident for?
Yeah, maybe from the outset and from the outside looking in, then maybe. But I actually think they've been really strong, and I think in the games that they've played, they've been probably unlucky not to make it through the group. They play a really attacking style, really aggressive. They've got really good technical players. So I'm actually a little bit surprised that maybe they didn't make it through. But yeah, we try and treat everybody with the same respect. We're at Champions League level, so we know that every game is going to be tough. Yeah, this is maybe the one that we earmarked as in this is going to be the shootout game. So we still want to approach it like that. We still want to approach it as if we have everything on the line, because I think when you cross that white line and you come to this stadium, then you have to play as if it's your last ever game for Celtic, and that's what the fans demand, and that's what the club demands. So I don't have any doubt that once we get over that line tomorrow night, then we'll be ready to show a sort of aggressive style of play that we want to show.
So after the domestic defeat last Sunday, I know you mentioned concentration is extremely important at the Champions League level, but are there any other like minor improvements that you know the team will need to make in order to have a chance against Feyenoord?
I think concentration is the biggest one. I think when you come to this level, you can't switch off for a second. I think, and that's probably been the thing that's killed us the most. I think is concentration. You look at the sending offs, probably concentration in the game when you get tired and you get stressed, because the level's so quick. You have to make decisions really, really quickly, and I think that's the one thing that's maybe let us down. So we have to try and learn for that. Even from the 5 games previous, when we go to tomorrow night's game, there shouldn't be anything in the game that should surprise us. We've played against them before. We've played 5 games at this level now, so we understand what the game requires and the level that we have to be at to make sure that we perform in the game and hopefully we can go and win it. So I think concentration is the biggest thing.
So Celtic Park's been packed out for the last 2 home group stage games. Just how important are the supporters and having a good atmosphere inside the ground in order to get a positive result?
Yeah, it's huge. I think you look at the Atletico Madrid game here. I think it's probably as good a performance I think as anybody's seen here, with it actually winning the game, which we probably again deserved on the night. We limited them to very little, but that's a combination of the team giving everything and the supporters giving everything, and you see when that happens, there's a special combination there that makes it very difficult for even top teams to come here and play. So we have to try and replicate that tomorrow night. Like I say, when we come to the pitch tomorrow night, we have to get the supporters involved in the game. We have to get them off their feet, and then I'm sure if we do that, then they'll bring what they always bring, and that is unwavering support for the team.
Can you talk about just what positives you're taking away from this campaign as it comes to a close?
I think when you play at this level, you're always gaining experience. I think whether you win, lose or draw, I think even if we'd have won a couple of these games that we just missed out on, then the learning from it is always so important, especially when there's probably such a big jump from domestic to European football. You learn so much about yourself as a player, you learn so much about the other teams and the way that they're trying to play football. So I think for me, the biggest thing is that learning experience, and especially for us, we're a young group. We have to try and soak up as much of that information as we can, and like I say, hopefully we can get back here next season and give a better account of ourselves from having that experience.
Could you speak about the benefits going forward of ending the campaign tomorrow on a positive note as well?
Yeah, I think that can be hugely important for us. We're obviously in a really busy period domestically. We've got a lot of big games coming up, so I think if we can use this as a game where we have a positive result and a positive performance, then I think naturally that carries everyone right through to the winter break. And like I said, there's some really important games coming up, so it's important that we have that sort of feel-good factor leading into these last 4 or 5 games.